Tae-woo was tired. He had worked for 12 hours straight at his office, staring at computer screens until his eyes burned. His back hurt. His head hurt. Everything hurt. All he wanted was a hot bath and then sleep. He lived alone in a small apartment in Seoul. It was nothing special. Just 2 rooms, a tiny kitchen, and a bathroom. But it was his, and after the day he had, it felt like heaven. He filled the bathtub with hot water. Steam rose up and covered the mirror. He added some bath salts that his mother had given him last month. She always worried that he worked too hard. She was right, but he never told her that Tae-woo took off his clothes and stepped into the water. The heat hit his skin, and he let out a long breath. His muscles started to relax. He closed his eyes and let his head rest against the edge of the tub for 5 minutes. Everything was perfect. Then the air cracked open. There was no other way to describe it. The air itself made a sound like breaking glass, but deeper. A bright line appeared in the middle of his bathroom, glowing blue and white. It grew wider, taller, until it was the size of a door. Tae-woo sat up fast, water splashing everywhere. His heart was beating so hard he could hear it in his ears. A woman stepped through the light. She was tall, taller than most women he knew. Her hair was silver, not gray like an old person, but silver like metal. It fell past her shoulders in perfect waves. Her skin was pale, almost white, and her eyes were a strange purple color that seemed to glow slightly in the steam. She wore some kind of armor. It was dark, black, and deep purple, and it moved like liquid when she walked. It covered her from neck to feet, fitting her body perfectly. The glowing door behind her closed and disappeared. She stood in his bathroom like she had always been there, like she belonged. She looked at him. Tae-woo looked at her. Neither of them moved. Then the woman pulled out a small device from somewhere on her armor. It was thin, silver, and fit in her palm. She pointed it at him, and a soft blue light scanned over his body. Tae-woo's brain was trying very hard to understand what was happening. An alien. There was an alien in his bathroom. An actual alien. With silver hair and purple eyes and some kind of scanner. He should scream. He should run. He should do something. Instead, he heard his own voice say, "If you are going to scan me, at least let me cover up first." The woman stopped. Her purple eyes met his. For a moment, she just stared at him, like he had said something she did not expect. Then she smirked. It was a small smile, just one corner of her mouth lifting up. But it changed her whole face. She went from cold and scary to something else. Something almost human. "You are not afraid," she said. Her voice was smooth, clear, and her Korean was perfect. Too perfect. Like she had learned it from a computer. "I am very afraid," Tae-woo said honestly. "But I'm also naked. And the fear of being naked in front of a stranger is winning right now." The woman tilted her head, studying him like he was a strange animal. Then she looked away, giving him some privacy. Tae-woo stood up quickly, grabbed his towel, and wrapped it around his waist. Water dripped onto the floor. His hands were shaking, but he tried not to show it. "Okay," he said. "Can we maybe talk in the living room? This is strange enough without being in the bathroom." The woman looked around at the small space. The steam, the bath products, the wet floor. She nodded once. Tae-woo walked past her, very aware that she could probably kill him with one hand. He went to his bedroom first, putting on sweatpants and a t-shirt as fast as he could. Then he went to the living room and sat on his couch. The woman followed him. She stood in the middle of his small living room, looking at everything. His bookshelf, his old television, the plants on his windowsill that he kept forgetting to water, the dirty dishes in the kitchen sink. "Your living space is inefficient," she said. "Thank you for the feedback," Tae-woo said dryly. "Please sit down." You are making me nervous standing there like that. She looked at the couch like she had never seen one before. Maybe she had not. After a moment, she sat down on the opposite end, her back straight, her hands on her knees. My name is Yuna, she said. That is not my real name. My real name would be impossible for your vocal cords to produce. But Yuna will work. I am Tae-woo, he said. That is my real name. My vocal cords can handle it just fine. Yuna's smirk appeared again. You make jokes when you are scared. It is a human thing. I have noticed. There was silence for a moment. Tae-woo's mind was racing with 1,000 questions, but he did not know where to start. So, he finally said, Are you going to explain why you teleported into my bathroom? Or should I just guess? Yuna looked at him with those strange purple eyes. I am a scout for the Vila Collective. We travel across the galaxy, studying species on different planets, cataloging them, rating them? Yes, based on intelligence, technology, usefulness, threat level. Your species is classified as Tier 7. Tae-woo did not know what that meant, but it did not sound good. Is Tier 7 bad? It is. Low, Yuna said carefully. Very low. It means your species is considered primitive, not worth much attention. Great, Tae-woo muttered. So you came all the way across the galaxy to tell me humans are not special. No, Yuna said. I came to collect data. Standard procedure. But my teleportation coordinates were slightly off. I was supposed to arrive in an empty location. Instead, I arrived in your bathing room. Bathroom. Bathroom, she repeated. Tae-woo rubbed his face with his hands. This was insane. This was completely insane. He should be calling someone. The police. The government. Someone. But who would believe him? And what would they do to her? He looked at Yuna. She was watching him carefully, like she was waiting for him to do something stupid. But he did not feel like she wanted to hurt him. She was curious. That was clear in her eyes. So what now? He asked. You finish your scan and leave? That was the plan, Yuna said slowly. But something in my data is unusual. I need more time to understand it. What do you mean unusual? She did not answer right away. She looked at her scanning device, then back at him. You should have panicked, she said quietly. Every other human I have observed would have screamed or attacked or tried to run. But you made a joke about covering yourself. Your brain was processing fear, confusion, and social embarrassment all at the same time. That should not be possible. Tae-woo blinked. That is just how brains work. Not in my species, Yuna said. We feel one thing at a time. Clean, simple, efficient. Your mind is chaos. She said it like it was a discovery. Like she had found something rare and strange. Tae-woo did not know what to say. He was just a normal guy. Tired, overworked, and now sitting across from an alien who thought his messy brain was interesting. So, he said slowly, You are going to stay longer? Yuna looked at him. Her purple eyes were unreadable. If you allow it, she said. I have questions. Tae-woo looked at the clock. It was almost midnight. He had work tomorrow. He should tell her to leave. He should be sensible. But when would he ever get another chance to talk to an alien? Fine, he said with a sigh. But I'm making tea first. Do aliens drink tea? Yuna tilted her head. I do not know. I have never tried. Tae-woo stood up and walked to his kitchen. Then I guess we are about to find out. Behind him, he heard something that might have been a laugh. It was soft and quick, like she was surprised by it herself. This was going to be a long night. Yuna did not like tea. She took one sip, made a face, and put the cup down on the table. It tastes like hot plant water, she said. That is exactly what it is, Tae-woo replied. He was drinking his own tea, feeling a little calmer now. It was strange how quickly a person could get used to impossible things. An alien was sitting in his living room, and he was worried about whether she liked his tea. "Why do you drink it?" Yuna asked. "It helps me relax." "But you just put chemicals into your body. Caffeine. It should make you more alert, not relaxed." Tae-woo shrugged. "The warmth is nice. The ritual is nice. Sometimes it is not about the science." Yuna looked at him like he had said something very strange. She picked up her scanning device again and pointed it at him. The soft blue light washed over his body. "What are you scanning now?" he asked. "Your brain activity," she said. "When you talked about the tea, your neural patterns shifted. You experienced comfort from just thinking about the process of making it, not the result. The process itself, is that weird?" "Very," Yuna said. "My species does not feel comfort. We feel satisfaction when a task is completed efficiently, but the task itself gives us nothing." Tae-woo thought about that. That sounds lonely. Yuna's purple eyes flickered. For just a second, something crossed her face. Then it was gone. We do not get lonely. Loneliness is an inefficient emotion. "Right," Tae-woo said. He did not believe her. They sat in silence for a moment. Yuna continued to scan him, her device making soft beeping sounds. Tae-woo watched her work. She was so focused, so serious. Like he was the most important research project in the universe. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "You may. How old are you?" Yuna paused. She looked up from her device. "In your years, I am approximately 347. Tae-woo almost dropped his tea. "What? My species lives much longer than yours. Our average lifespan is around 800 of your years. Some live past 1,000. And humans? Your average lifespan is 70 to 80 years." She said it simply, like she was reading a fact from a book. "It is one of the reasons you are classified so low. You do not live long enough to develop properly." Tae-woo felt something twist in his chest. It was not anger exactly. It was something sadder. "That seems like a harsh way to judge us." "It is logical," Yuna said. "How can a species accomplish great things when each individual has so little time?" "Maybe that is why we try so hard," Tae-woo said quietly. "Because we know our time is short." Yuna stared at him. Her scanner beeped loudly, and she looked down at it with a frown. "What?" Tae-woo asked. "Your emotional response to that statement," she said slowly. "It was complex. You felt sadness, pride, and determination all at the same time. 3 separate emotions occurring together. Is that not normal?" "No," Yuna said firmly. "It is not. In my species, emotions are sequential. One ends before another begins. What you just did should cause cognitive damage. Your brain should not be able to handle multiple emotional states at once." Tae-woo laughed. It came out tired and a little broken. "Maybe human brains are just messy." "No," Yuna said again. She was looking at her scanner like it had betrayed her. "This is not Messines's. This is something else. Your species has developed a way to process multiple emotional threads simultaneously. It should be impossible, but you do it naturally, without thinking." She stood up suddenly and walked to his window. She looked out at the city lights of Seoul, her reflection ghostly in the glass. "I have studied over 2,000 species," she said without turning around. "None of them do what you just did. None of them feel 3 things at once and stay functional." "Maybe you have not been looking closely enough," Tae-woo said. Yuna turned to face him. Her purple eyes were intense. "That is exactly what I am afraid of." She walked back to the couch and sat down, closer this time. Her scanner was still in her hand, but she was not using it anymore. She was just looking at him. "I need to understand this better," she said. May I continue observing you? For how long? I do not know yet. Tae-woo rubbed his eyes. He was so tired. Tomorrow was a work day. He had meetings, deadlines, a boss who yelled too much. And now he had an alien who wanted to study his brain. I have a job, he said. I cannot stay home and be your experiment. Then I will observe you while you do your job. Tae-woo's eyes went wide. You cannot come to my office. People will notice you. Yuna smiled. It was the first real smile he had seen from her. I have technology that makes me invisible to human eyes. I can be in the same room as you, and no one will know. That is terrifying. Yes, she agreed. It is. Tae-woo did not know what to say. Part of him wanted to tell her to leave. This was too strange, too dangerous. But another part of him, a part he did not fully understand, wanted her to stay. He was curious too. Okay, he said finally. But you have to follow some rules. Yuna raised an eyebrow. Rules? Yes. First, you do not scam me while I'm sleeping. That is creepy. Understood. Second, you do not follow me into the bathroom. We already had one incident there. A small smirk. Understood. Third, if I tell you to stop or leave, you do it. No arguments. Yuna considered this. Those are reasonable terms. I accept. Tae-woo nodded. He could not believe he was negotiating with an alien in his apartment at 1 a.m. His life had become very strange very fast. Do you need to sleep? He asked. My species requires rest, but not as often as yours. I can go several days without it. That must be nice. It is efficient. Tae-woo stood up. His body was heavy with tiredness. I need to sleep. You can stay here in the living room. The couch is not comfortable, but it is better than standing. Yuna looked at the couch. I do not require comfort. Of course you do not. Tae-woo muttered. He walked toward his bedroom, then stopped at the door. He turned back to look at her. She was still sitting on the couch, perfectly still, watching him with those strange purple eyes. Yuna, he said. Yes. Why did you really stay? You said your coordinates were wrong, but you could have teleported out the moment you realized your mistake. Why did you stand there and scan me instead? Yuna was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was softer than before. Because you did not scream, she said. In 300 years of studying primitive species, I have never seen one not scream when I appear. But you made a joke. You asked for privacy. You offered me tea. She paused. I wanted to know why. Tae-woo felt something warm in his chest. He did not know what to call it. Maybe humans are just too tired to scream, he said. Yuna's lips curved up slightly. Maybe. Good night, Yuna. Good night, Tae-woo. He closed his bedroom door and leaned against it for a moment. His heart was still beating fast, but it was different now. Not fear, something else. He got into bed and stared at the ceiling. An alien was in his living room. An alien who thought humans were interesting because they felt too many things at once. Maybe she was right. Maybe humans were chaos, but maybe that was not such a bad thing. Tae-woo closed his eyes. Tomorrow would be complicated. But tonight, for some reason he could not explain, he felt like something important had begun. He fell asleep faster than he expected. In the living room, Yuna sat perfectly still, her scanner dark in her lap. She was supposed to be analyzing data, preparing her report for the collective. Instead, she was thinking about tea and tired jokes and the strange warmth in a human's voice when he said goodnight to a stranger. Her species did not feel confusion. But right now, Yuna felt something very close to it. She looked at the closed bedroom door for a long time. Then, for the first time in many years, she did something she had not planned. She waited. 2 weeks passed after Kira left. Life became strangely normal. Or at least as normal as life could be when an alien was living in your apartment. Tae-Wu went to work every day. He sat in meetings, typed on his computer, and dealt with his difficult boss. But now, when he came home, Yuna was there. She had stopped wearing her armor most of the time. Instead, she wore clothes they had bought together from a nearby store. She looked almost human now, except for the silver hair and purple eyes. You cannot wear those outside, Tae-Wu had said when she first changed. Why not? Because people will stare. Silver hair and purple eyes are not common here. Yuna had tilted her head. I can modify my appearance. Make myself look more like you. You would do that? If it makes things easier. Tae-Wu had thought about it. Part of him wanted her to stay hidden, to stay safe. But another part of him felt sad at the idea. No, he had said finally. Stay how you are. We will figure something out. They figured out that Yuna could wear a hat to cover her hair and dark sunglasses to hide her eyes. It was not a perfect solution, but it worked. Tae-Wu taught her how to walk through the city without attracting attention, how to bow slightly when greeting neighbors, how to say thank you to the convenience store clerk. Small things that humans did without thinking, but that Yuna had to learn. She was a fast learner, but some things still confused her. One evening, they were watching a television drama together. It was a romance about two people who could not be together because of their families. Yuna watched the whole episode without speaking. When it ended, she turned to Tae-Wu with a puzzled expression. Why do they not just leave? She asked. What do you mean? The two lovers. Their families disapprove. So why do they not simply go somewhere else and be together? It is the logical solution. Tae-Wu smiled. Because it is not that simple. They love their families too. They do not want to hurt them, even if their families are hurting them. That is contradictory. That is being human. Yuna frowned at the television. Your species makes everything so complicated. I know, Tae-Wu said. That is why we invented drama shows. To complain about how complicated we made things. Yuna looked at him. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed. It was a real laugh, warm and surprised. The sound filled the small apartment. Tae-Wu felt something flutter in his chest. What? Yuna asked, seeing his expression. Nothing, he said quickly. Just thinking. About what? He did not answer, but he kept thinking about it long after the television was turned off. Days turned into weeks. Yuna stopped being a guest and became something else. Something Tae-Wu did not have a word for. She started cooking. Or trying to. The first few meals were disasters. She burned rice, added too much salt, and once set off the smoke alarm trying to fry an egg. But she kept trying. She read recipes on his phone and watched cooking videos and asked endless questions about spices and temperatures. Why are you doing this? Tae-Wu asked one evening after eating a surprisingly good bowl of soup she had made. Because you are tired when you come home from work, Yuna said simply. And cooking for yourself seems to make you more tired. So I thought I could help. You do not have to help. I know. I want to. Tae-Wu stared at her. Something was changing inside him, something he was afraid to name. Yuna, he said slowly. Are you going to stay? She looked up from the dishes she was washing. Her purple eyes met his. Do you want me to stay? It was such a simple question, but it felt like the most important question anyone had ever asked him. Tae-Wu stood up from the table. He walked over to her and stood beside her at the sink. Water was still running. Steam rose between them. Yes, he said. I want you to stay. Yuna turned off the water. She dried her hands slowly on a towel. Then she faced him. I should go back to my own people, she said quietly. I should find my own kind, live among my own species. That is what is logical, but but I do not want to. Her voice was soft, vulnerable. I do not fit there anymore. Maybe I never did. The collective taught me that emotions were inefficient, that caring about individuals was a waste of resources, that the only thing that mattered was the mission. She reached out and touched his hand. But then I met you, and you cared about me when you had no reason to. You risked your life for me when it made no sense. You showed me that logic is not the only way to live. Wu held her hand. Her fingers were cool against his warm skin. That sounds like you have made a decision, he said. Yuna smiled. It was that real smile again, the one that made her look almost human. I have been running tests on myself, she said, studying my own brain patterns. Something has changed. My neural pathways are different now. Messier. That sounds bad. It should be, she agreed. By Wheeler's standards, I am damaged. My emotional patterns are chaotic. I feel multiple things at once now. Fear and hope. Sadness and joy. Loneliness and belonging. She squeezed his hand. I feel like a human, she whispered. And I think I like it. Taewoo did not know what to say. So he did something he had been wanting to do for days. He pulled her into a hug. Yuna stiffened at first. Her species did not do physical affection. Touch was functional, purposeful, never just for comfort. But slowly, she relaxed. Her arms came up around him. Her head rested against his shoulder. They stood there in the small kitchen, holding each other while the dishes sat unwashed and the night grew dark outside. I do not know what the future holds, Yuna said into his shoulder. The collective might find out that Kira lied. They might come for me. For us, then we will deal with it together, Taewoo said. That is not a plan. No, it is a promise. Yuna pulled back and looked at him. Her purple eyes were bright with emotions she was still learning to name. You really are the strangest human I have ever met, she said. You have only met one human properly. That is true. But I have a feeling you would be strange, even compared to others. Taewoo grinned. Probably. They ordered food that night because neither of them wanted to cook. They sat on the couch and watched another drama, this one about a woman who travels back in time to save her first love. Yuna asked questions about every scene. Taewoo tried to explain, even when the explanations did not make sense. When the episode ended, Yuna leaned against him. It was casual, natural, like she had always done it. Taewoo, she said. Yes? Thank you. For what? For offering me tea when you were scared. For teaching me about fried chicken and drama shows and complicated emotions. For standing in front of Kira, even though you were terrified. She paused. For making me feel like I belong somewhere. Taewoo put his arm around her. Thank you for teleporting into my bathroom. Yuna laughed. You will never let me forget that, will you? Never. Outside, the city of Seoul glittered with millions of lights. Millions of humans living their complicated, messy, beautiful lives. And in one small apartment on one ordinary street, an alien sat with a human, watching bad television and feeling something neither of them could fully explain. The collective was still out there. The universe was still vast and dangerous. The future was still uncertain. But right now, in this moment, none of that mattered. Yuna had teleported into a stranger's bath. She had examined him. She had smirked at his strange, chaotic human brain, and she had stayed, not because she had to, not because it was logical, but because, for the first time in her 347 years, she had found something worth staying for. She had found home. And home. She was learning was not a place. It was a person. She looked up at Taewoo, who was already falling asleep on the couch. His face was peaceful, relaxed, trusting. Yuna smiled. This planet was chaos. These humans were impossible. And this man, this ordinary, stubborn, kind man, had changed everything. She closed her eyes and let herself rest against him. Tomorrow would bring new questions, new challenges, new things to learn. But tonight, she was exactly where she wanted to be. She was home. Kira arrived on the 7th day. Tae-woo was at work when he felt it. A coldness in the air that had nothing to do with the weather. He looked around the office, but everything seemed normal. His coworkers were typing, talking, drinking coffee. Nothing was wrong, but something was wrong. He could feel it. He sent a message to Yuna through the small device she had given him. It looked like a normal earpiece, but it connected directly to her. "Something feels strange," he whispered. "I do not know what." There was a pause. Then Yuna's voice came through, tight with tension. "Leave work, now. Go home. What is happening?" "Someone is here. Someone from the collective." The blue's heart started beating fast. He stood up from his desk, grabbed his jacket, and told his coworker he was feeling sick. He walked out of the office as calmly as he could, but inside, his whole body was screaming at him to run. The train ride home felt like it took hours. Every person on the train looked suspicious. Every shadow seemed threatening. Tae-woo kept his hand in his pocket, touching the small panic button Yuna had given him. "If something happens," she had said, "press this. I will come." He did not press it. Not yet. When he got to his apartment building, the sun was already setting. Orange light filled the sky, making everything look like it was on fire. He climbed the stairs to his floor, his legs shaking slightly. The door to his apartment was open. Tae-woo stopped. He could hear voices inside. One was Yuna's. The other was unfamiliar. Colder dot, he pushed the door open and stepped inside. Yuna was standing in the middle of his living room. Her armor was back on, and her body was tense, ready to fight. Across from her stood another woman. The stranger was shorter than Yuna, but somehow more terrifying. Her hair was pure white, cut short and sharp. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes were silver, like mirrors. She wore armor similar to Yuna's, but darker. Blacker dot, she turned to look at Tae-woo when he entered. Her silver eyes scanned him from head to toe. "This is the human?" she said. Her voice was flat, empty. "He is nothing special." "Kira," Yuna said warningly. "Leave him alone." "I am not here for him," Kira replied. "I am here for you. The collective sent me when you failed to report. They want to know why. I needed more time to study this species. Studying does not take 7 days. Studying takes hours." Kira's silver eyes narrowed. "You have been compromised." Tae-woo did not know what to do. He was standing in his own apartment, watching two aliens face each other like they were about to fight. He should run. He should hide. But his feet would not move. "I have not been compromised," Yuna said firmly. "I have made discoveries. Important discoveries that the collective needs to hear." "What discoveries?" Yuna glanced at Tae-woo, then back at Kira. "Humans are not what we thought. They are not primitive. They are different. Their minds work in ways we cannot predict. They could be a threat." Kira laughed. It was a horrible sound, like ice cracking. "A threat?" "These creatures live for less than a century. They cannot even leave their own planet. They are insects. Insects do not feel hope when there is no reason to hope," Yuna said. "Insects do not die for strangers. Insects do not choose love over survival." Kira stared at her for a long moment. Then she shook her head slowly. "You have spent too much time with this one," she said, pointing at Tae-woo. "He has infected your mind. I can see it in your readings. Your emotional patterns are chaotic, damaged." "Not damaged," Yuna said quietly. "Different. Same thing." Kira raised her hand, and a weapon appeared in it. It was small and sleek, glowing with a faint red light. She pointed it at Yuna. The collective has ordered me to bring you back, Kira said. Alive, if possible. But if you resist, I am allowed to use force. I am not going back. Then you give me no choice. Kira turned the weapon toward Teiwu. But first, I will remove the contamination. This human has influenced you. Without him, you will return to normal. Teiwu's body went cold. He was going to die. This alien was going to kill him, and there was nothing he could do about it. He was not fast enough, not strong enough, not anything enough. But something strange happened inside him. Instead of fear, he felt anger. Instead of weakness, he felt determination. He had spent his whole life being not enough. Not fast enough at work. Not smart enough for his family. Not interesting enough for relationships. Always falling short. Always apologizing. Always stepping back. But not this time. This time, he was going to stand up. He stepped forward, putting himself between Kira and Yuna. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. She is not going anywhere she does not want to go, he said. Kira stared at him. For the first time, something other than coldness crossed her face. Surprise. Move aside, human, she said. I will not ask twice. Then do not ask. Teiwu did not step back. Because I am not moving. Teiwu, Yuna whispered behind him. What are you doing? She will kill you. Probably, he agreed. But I am not going to watch her take you. Not without trying to stop it. Kira's silver eyes were fixed on him. She raised her scanner with her free hand and pointed it at his body. Your heart rate is extremely elevated, she said slowly. Your stress hormones are flooding your system. Every part of your biology is telling you to run. But you are not running. No, Teiwu said. I am not. Why? It was the same question Yuna had asked him days ago. Why help? Why sacrifice? Why choose others over yourself? Teiwu looked at Kira, at this cold alien who could end his life with a single shot. Because that is what humans do, he said simply. We protect the people we care about, even when it is stupid, even when it is hopeless, even when we are scared. You care about her? Kira gestured at Yuna. She's not your species. She's not your kind. You have known her for 7 days. So, why would you die for her? Teiwu felt Yuna's presence behind him. He felt her confusion, her fear, her hope. All those emotions she was not supposed to have. Because she is lost, he said quietly. Because she came to a strange planet and found something she did not expect. Because she is trying to understand a universe that does not make sense. He paused. That sounds like me. That sounds like everyone I know. So yeah, maybe I care about her. Maybe that does not make sense. But since when does anything have to make sense? Kira was silent. Her weapon was still raised, still pointed at him. But her finger had not moved. She was just standing there, silver eyes unreadable. You are defective, she finally said. Your logic is broken. You should not be willing to die for someone you barely know. Probably, Teiwu agreed again. But here I am. Kira looked at him for a long time. Then she looked at Yuna. Then back at Teiwu. Something shifted in her expression. It was tiny, almost impossible to see. But it was there. The collective was wrong about this species, she said quietly. I can see that now. She lowered her weapon. Teiwu let out a breath he did not know he was holding. His legs felt weak, like they might collapse at any moment. But he stayed standing. You are not going to kill me? He asked. No, Kira said. Not today. She turned to Yuna. I will return to the collective. I will tell them that you were killed during a retrieval accident. That the human was a witness who needed to be eliminated. No one will come looking for you. Why? Yuna asked. Her voice was shaking. Why would you do that? Kira looked at Taewoo one more time. Because he stood up for you. Even though he was terrified. Even though he had no chance. She paused. I've never seen anything like that. And I have been alive for 600 years. She walked toward the door, then stopped. Do not make me regret this, she said to Yuna. Stay hidden. Study your humans. Find out what makes them so strange. Then she was gone. The air cracked and folded, and Kira disappeared like she had never been there at all. Taewoo's legs finally gave out. He sat down hard on the floor, breathing heavily. His hands were shaking so much he could not control them. Yuna knelt beside him. Her purple eyes were wide, wet with something that looked like tears. You almost died, she said. I know. For me. I know. She reached out and touched his face. Her fingers were cool against his skin. Why? She asked. Tell me the real reason. Taewoo looked at her. At this alien woman who had crashed into his life and turned everything upside down. Because you needed someone, he said. And I was here. That is all. Yuna stared at him. Then, slowly, she smiled. It was different from her usual smirk. It was real, open, vulnerable. You really are chaos, she whispered. Yeah, he said. I know. And sitting there on the floor of his messy apartment, still shaking from almost dying, Taewoo smiled back. Maybe chaos was not so bad after all. 3 days passed. Taewoo went to work. He sat in meetings. He typed on his computer. He drank bad coffee from the office machine. Everything looked normal from the outside, but Yuna was always there. He could not see her, but he knew. Sometimes he felt a slight warmth nearby, like someone standing close. Sometimes his skin prickled for no reason. And sometimes, late at night when they were back in his apartment, she would tell him what she had observed. You lied to your boss today, she said on the third evening. They were sitting on his couch, eating fried chicken that Taewoo had ordered because he was too tired to cook. I did not lie, Taewoo said, his mouth full. I just did not tell the whole truth. You told him the project was on schedule. It is not. It will be. I will work extra this weekend. Yuna tilted her head. She had taken off her armor for the first time today, wearing something simpler underneath. It was still alien, still strange, but it made her look less like a warrior and more like a person. Why do you do that? She asked. Why work extra to fix something that is not your fault? Because the team needs me to. Because if the project fails, everyone suffers. Not just me, but you will sacrifice your own time. Your own rest. For people who would not do the same for you. Wu put down his chicken. How do you know they would not do the same? Because I observed them. Your co-worker Hyun-soo left early 3 times this week. Your team leader blamed you for a mistake he made. None of them would sacrifice anything for you. It should have hurt to hear. But Taewoo already knew these things. He had known them for a long time. It does not matter what they would do, he said quietly. It matters what I do. I can only control myself. Yuna's purple eyes were fixed on him. Her scanner was sitting on the table, but she had not touched it for hours. She was just watching now, without technology. This is what I do not understand about humans, she said. You know you are being used. You know you are being treated unfairly. But you keep helping anyway. Why? Taewoo thought about it. It was a good question. He had asked himself the same thing many times. Because giving up on people is easy, he finally said. Anyone can do that. But keeping faith in them, even when they let you down, that takes strength. And I want to be strong. Yuna was silent for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was different, softer. My species would call that foolish. What do you call it? She did not answer, but something in her eyes changed. Something that looked almost like respect. They ate the rest of the chicken in comfortable silence. Later that night, Yuna sat by the window while Taewoo washed the dishes. She looked out at the city, all those millions of lights, each one representing a human life. "I was supposed to send my report 2 days ago," she said. Taewoo turned off the water. "What report?" "To the collective. About this planet. About humans." She paused. "I deleted the transmission instead." Taewoo walked over and stood next to her. "Why?" "Because the report would have said that humans are a Tier 7 species. Primitive. Not a threat. Not worth attention." She turned to look at him. "But that is not true. We are pretty primitive," Taewoo said with a small smile. "We still cannot figure out how to make buses run on time." "You are not listening," Yuna said firmly. "The collective classifies species based on logic, technology, and lifespan. By those measures, humans are nothing special. But those measures are wrong." "What do you mean?" Yuna stood up. She started pacing, something Taewoo had never seen her do before. She seemed agitated, like her thoughts were moving too fast for her body. "The collective has conquered hundreds of species," she said. "We always win because we are logical. We can predict what our enemies will do because they think the way we think. One emotion at a time. One goal at a time. Clean and simple." She stopped pacing and faced him. "But humans do not think that way. You feel fear and courage at the same time. You know something is hopeless, but you try anyway. You sacrifice for strangers who do not deserve it." Her voice was rising. "Every model we have says that a species like yours should have destroyed itself long ago. But you have not. You keep surviving. You keep growing. And I cannot figure out why." Taewoo leaned against the wall. "Maybe because we are stubborn." "It is more than that," Yuna said. "Your irrationality is not a weakness. It is a weapon. A weapon my people do not understand and cannot predict." She walked toward him, stopping just a few feet away. "If the collective came to Earth with an army," she said quietly, "they would expect humans to behave logically, to surrender when defeat was certain, to protect themselves over others, to give up when hope was gone. And we would not do that," Taewoo said. "No, you would fight until the last breath. You would die for people you have never met. You would choose hope when there was no reason for it." Yuna's purple eyes were bright. "That makes you dangerous in a way the collective has never faced." Taewoo did not know what to say. He was just a software engineer who ate too much fried chicken and forgot to water his plants. He was not dangerous. But looking at Yuna, seeing the fear and wonder in her alien eyes, he started to understand what she meant. Humans were not strong because of their bodies or their technology. They were strong because they refused to make sense. They loved when it hurt. They hoped when it was stupid. They fought when they should have run. And that unpredictability, that beautiful chaos, was something no one could plan for. "So, what are you going to do?" he asked. Yuna was quiet. She turned back to the window, looking out at the city again. "I do not know," she admitted. "If I tell the collective the truth, they might see humans as a threat. They might come here to destroy you before you become too powerful." Taewoo's blood went cold. "And if you do not tell them? Then I am a traitor. They will come for me eventually. And they will come for you too, because you know about us now. That does not seem fair." Yuna laughed. It was a sad sound. "No, it is not." They stood there together, looking out at Seoul. Millions of people going about their lives, not knowing that somewhere out there, an alien empire was deciding whether they were worth keeping alive. "I should be more scared," Taewoo said. "Why are you not?" He thought about it. "Because being scared would not change anything. And I have you here, right?" You deleted the report. That means something? Yuna turned to look at him. Her expression was strange, confused, vulnerable. Why do you trust me? She asked. I invaded your home. I scanned you without permission. I have told you that my people might destroy your world. You should hate me. Tae-woo shrugged. You also sat on my couch for 3 days trying to understand why humans make jokes when they are scared. You ate fried chicken with me and made faces because the sauce was too spicy. You asked questions instead of just taking answers. He smiled at her. That does not sound like an enemy to me. That sounds like someone who is trying to figure things out. Just like the rest of us. Yuna stared at him for a long time. Then, slowly, she smiled back. It was small and uncertain, like she was not used to the feeling. You really are chaos, she said. Thank you. It was not entirely a compliment. I am taking it as one. Yuna shook her head, but she was still smiling. And for the first time since she had arrived, she looked almost relaxed. They stayed by the window for a while longer, not talking, just watching the city together. Neither of them knew what tomorrow would bring. The collective was out there somewhere, waiting. Danger was coming. But right now, in this small apartment in Seoul, a human and an alien stood side by side. And somehow, that felt like enough.